Welcome to the channel. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Today we will be looking at the eye-catching, gorgeous brown sunray dial of the Baltany S202081 Dirty Dozen Field Watch, powered by the annoyingly mysterious Seagull ST1731 automatic movement. So let's start there. On the movement and the technical details, specs to be displayed on screen. So as a watch reviewer and as a watch hobbyist, I try to learn about the new movements I get exposed to, and it's one of the best things about the watch review business. We see movements that we would probably normally never see. And these Seagull movements barely have any information around them. There are just so many Seagull movements out there, and they're all based on some previous version or etc. So the specifics are quite difficult to get hold of. So you might need to hit the deep and dark web to get that kind of information. But what we do know is that this movement does hand wind, it doesn't hack, and it has around 40 hours of power reserve. And this one features a single calendar along with a small second subdial. Now on the time grapher, it's running the following specifications. It's around +5 to +6 seconds a day, 332 on the amplitude, and a beat error of 0.3, which does show the movement is running really well. Now with that out of the way, we can actually hone in on some of the amazing features and design which Baltany has given us. And I would say that this is quite possibly the nicest looking Dirty Dozen field watch I have ever seen. Now the main reason of course is that big beautiful brown dial presented in a sunray / fume design. The shade of brown is just perfect. It's a deep coppery brown which looks fantastic, and even on camera you can see just how lustrous that looks. Now I really wish they had a lot more brown dials out there, and it's something which does need to make a comeback. So this watch has all your basic D12 field watch features. You get a railway minute track with loom pips and buttons at the 5-minute markers. You've got crisply printed Arabics and the Baltany printed logo, which does sometimes fade into that sunray. The subdial at the 6 o'clock features those concentric circles with color matched markers. Not very legible, but they look nice. And of course the date at 6. Now I for once like the date at 6 on this version, and how it's cut into the subdial. It adds that date function which so many people want, but I also get that without it, it would look awesome as well. So I have reached out to Baltany marketing to see if they are willing to make one without a date. So let's see what happens. But as it stands, I do think it's fine. The dial still maintains symmetry and beauty with function. The handset used is polished and it has the perfect proportions, and everything is loomed pretty well. The handset is the brightest and the pips around the minute track, while the Arabics have the weakest loom. They're not thick enough, but the legibility is still really good in the dark, and they have included a tiny bit of loom on that small seconds. You can't really ask for much more than that. Now I do find myself wanting to look at this dial so much more, and I reckon if I made a video just on the dial, you guys will still watch it. But we have to move on to the case. Now the case is where Baltany have definitely stepped up in so many levels. Usually the D12 field watches have the most basic of cases, but here the case finishing is superb and unlike any I've ever seen before. You can see that polished bevel around the bezel glistening away as you look at the watch, and it is a great feature. It definitely makes the watch stand out a lot more. They've used a slim profile bezel with 3-stage finishing. The A face is flat with satin radial brushing with such smooth grain. It's at that San Martin level, and the polished bevel is perfectly crisp. This then transitions into a brushed base which has the same level of fine brushing as the A face, and the rest of the case also follows suit. You have very fine horizontal satin brushing along the side and linear along the lugs. And you have a very clean definition of the lugs and the case. I am actually overly impressed with this watch. They have done so well, and they've jumped heaps and bounds in terms of the finishing they are presenting here. Now the crown size is a perfect 7mm in diameter, and it's also slim. It gives you really good grip and smooth thread engagement. This watch is exceedingly good in both form and function. So I didn't like the original strap this watch came on, and chose to pair it with a perforated nubuck style leather strap with contrast off-white stitching, which I think is actually a perfect match. But I think this watch will look fantastic on any high-end leather strap, and if Baltany could ever make that perfect bracelet with matching finishing, it probably will be the best looking D12 field watch out there. Currently I would say that it is the best looking one, and it's also the best finished D12 field watch, and for an an incredible £100 that is truly unbeatable value on offer here. And the watch also looks awesome on wrist. The dimensions are very proportionate. The 39mm case diameter along with a 46mm lug to lug, it's perfect. And the curvature of the lugs means it does hug your wrist. Now, I love the presence and finishing on the case. It does shine and stand out, and that gorgeous brand dial is just a pleasure to look at from time and time again. So do I have any reservations or any negatives? I can't actually say I do. I knew I liked the look of it in the pictures, but the case finishing has shocked me as it's just so close to perfect, except where you stand on the day being present or not. Now, I would like Baltany to consider a dateless option, but also to invest in a really high quality leather strap that would complement the watch a lot more, as the case and dial are really up there. So to you watchers out there, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. That's it from me today, and I will see you on the next video.